Hey everybody, Jake Wiskerchen, Zephyr Wellness YouTube channel. I don't have to explain that to you because you found your way here and you know what you're watching. Anyway, it's always nice to do an introduction. Today, the weather is smoke. That's not clouds. We actually are supposed to have a completely clear day atmospherically, but that smoke from the California wildfires is blowing in. More on that in a minute. I think we've lost our ability to tolerate distress as a people, as a society, as a culture. It's been several generations since we collectively have had to endure anything of any magnitude that impacted us on a daily basis for a length of time beyond, say, a handful of weeks or months. We might have some wildfires that pop up from time to time. Smoke blows through, a couple of weeks goes by, we stop coughing, we can go out and play again. We're on day 33 of this here in the Reno-Sparks area, but it's up and down the West Coast. If you're seeing this somewhere else across the world, across the country, go check in on airnow.gov and see where the map of smoke is, and we're gonna throw that up today as it's currently presented, so you get an idea. The entire West Coast is covered in smoke, and not just a little bit of smoke, but like hazardous, unhealthy smoke. Like I shouldn't be standing out here breathing it and doing this video smoke. 33 days is a long time. We did have a couple of days intermingled there with about a half or three-quarters of a day of blue skies, which was like, whoa, what's that? And where did it come from? But it's starting to wear on us. It's starting to get a little demoralizing. I mean, it looks post-apocalyptic. You've seen probably the pictures of the Bay Area, San Francisco Giants games, Oakland A's games. The Mariners just canceled their game with the Giants because of the smoke, and it looks like a hellscape. It looks like Mars. We're actually a little bit advantaged here in the Reno-Sparks area because the big mountains, the Sierra Nevada mountains, block a lot of that smoke, and so what we end up getting is actually less intense than what's on the other side of the hill to our west. It's pretty amazing. But all that's to say that it's wearing on our souls, on our psyches, and on our endurance. Now, of course, this is against the backdrop of a global pandemic and national lockdowns. Social distancing measures to prevent disease spreading that all force us apart. We're not supposed to function like that as human beings. We're supposed to convene. We're supposed to gather in groups. We're supposed to lean on each other in social circles. And it's not happening. Government has declared that we need to be separate and apart from each other for this one sole purpose of fighting coronavirus. Okay. But regardless, what that's doing is continuing to test our resolve. That started in March. It's now September. That's 6 months. That's a really long time. And to my memory, I can't think of anything that's lasted that long that's impacted as many people as it has to the degree that it has in my lifetime. 9/11 occurred. That was 19 years ago. We have an entire generation of folks now who have no clue what that is. 19-year-olds who are college freshmen or sophomores don't understand what the response was following 9/11 because they were either not born or they were babies or toddlers. And even that was pretty brief. Yes, there was an enduring war that took place in multiple skirmishes and actions in Iraq and Afghanistan that impacted pockets of society and homes and families, but there was no real global effect. There was no national impact on our economy. Not like in World War II, where people had to leave their jobs or work two jobs or leave the home to go get a job because the factory workers all went and fought overseas. And that went on for 4 years. This has been 6 months. And really the smoke has been with us for like 1 month. 4 years, imagine that. Imagine the resolve. Rewind a little further, World War I. That was a couple years long. Rewind even further, the American Civil War. That was 4 years of people fighting each other, constantly on edge, constantly battling. The psychic distress, the constant anxiety, the fight or flight reflex that you can't really escape. We're not conditioned for this. Our brains are not programmed to receive this much stimulus, this much on edge, hypertension, not hypertension, that's a heart thing. Hyper-vigilance, where we're looking out for stuff all the time. Decision fatigue is a new term that I was introduced to, where we're having to make decisions that we had previously just kind of unconsciously done. Who's going to watch the kids today while I'm working downstairs? How am I going to get online for Zoom for their school while I have to work? Do I have to put a mask on to go in the grocery store or not? Do I have to wipe down the gas pump? That's all decision fatigue. When's it end? We don't know. And that's problematic because as a society, we've got a few generations now that haven't practiced distress tolerance. Lay that against the backdrop of instant gratification. All these things that we can have instantly on demand, commercial free, customized just for us. I mean, even the names of these things tell us that we should get it immediately and customized to our desire and liking, right? Facebook, YouTube, iPhone, Instagram. Even the names are indicative of the urgency that we should just pack more stuff in and get it immediately and perfectly represented to our tastes and desires. All that's done is erode our distress tolerance. It's eaten away at our ability to handle when things go poorly or they don't go the way that we want. The internet doesn't load in 0.007 seconds all the results that I want perfectly as I desire them. I've lost my ability to deal with that and sift through the search engine results. So our distress tolerance drops, our tantruming goes up, we don't know how to wait for things, and then we're getting hit with this pandemic, fires, politics, division, and we go, when will it end? Well, it ends when we say it does. When we decide that we're not going to engage anymore, when we decide that we are going to be at peace no matter what, when we are going to extend love, when we are going to say, I'm okay regardless of my circumstances. But we haven't practiced that. We haven't had anything that told us how to practice that. I grew up in the 80s. I had to thumb through a card catalog in the library to go find a book. Now I can pull it up on Audible, right? We need to get back to being patient. We need to get back to being okay, not being okay. We need to get back to tolerating when things don't go how we wish them to go. That's how it ends. It will not end. We have to make it end by deciding that we're either not going to engage, or if we do engage, our engagement is going to be time limited on our terms, not because the environment is telling us what to do, not because some external force is making me do something. The president can't make me feel something. The president's opponent can't make me feel something. The coronavirus can't make me feel something. I guess it can make me feel something in my lungs, but it can't cause me any more disturbance than I choose to give it. If you're tired of being in chaos, if you're tired of being in constant crisis, if you're tired of being on your heels, wondering what the next decision is going to be to instruct you how to live your life, stop doing that. Take charge. End it now and choose for yourself that you're done. You're done being in distress. You're done being in chaos. Embrace the necessity of mystery. We don't know much about a lot of things. And if we learn to embrace that and be okay with not knowing, be okay with not being able to predict an outcome, we're going to be a lot more peaceful. I invite you, after seeing this video over the next day or week, notice in your life where something triggers something in your limbic system or in your belief system, your thought process, and causes you to respond in a way that you don't like. Notice that. Don't do anything about it. Just notice it. Notice that you're like, ooh, I reacted really poorly to that news post. Ooh, I reacted poorly to this social media post. Oh, I didn't really care for hearing that thing that just came out of my friend's mouth. I didn't like that video. Notice it. And then you can take control. But you can't take control unless you know where it is coming from and the sources and what your own responses to environment are. Once you start noticing those things, then you can choose, you know what, I'm not going to follow that news feed. I'm not going to click on that link. I'm not going to watch that video. And then you get to choose to focus in on things you do like. Friends, family, even if they're distant, even if you have to do it through Zoom. Hobbies, even if you can't go to the gym, invent a workout. So eventually all this blows away. Eventually, even if the fires don't get put out, they can't burn everything, right? They gotta burn out at some point. It may take longer than we want. May not be on our timeline, but it will end. And that's the hope that I find. I'm hopeful that I know historically I've come through other things. I know humanity has come through other things, longer things. We have endured. We as a people are really good at that. I think today we just kind of forgot how because we haven't practiced endurance for very, very long. So let's get back to practicing endurance. Let's get back to practicing tolerance, peace, finding our own happiness within, not looking for it from somewhere else. It's great to walk out here on a clear day and see the entire city of Reno in sparks laid out with mountains behind it and a clear blue sky. That's awesome. But if I'm depending on that to bring me my own peace, I'm now victim to that when it doesn't go my way. These are handcuffs if you couldn't tell. I'm handcuffing myself to the external environment as though I don't have any control over myself. And that's patently false. I get to choose whether I'm happy. I get to choose whether I'm miserable. I can look outside and go, ugh, that's gross. And that can be an objective observation. It is gross. But now what do I do with it? Well, I shoot a video about how gross it is, and hopefully it inspires somebody else to go, yeah, you know what? It is temporary. Even if it's a really long temporary, nothing lasts forever. Listen, on behalf of the Zephyr Wellness family, I wish you all great mental wellness. Share this. Subscribe. Doesn't do any good locked up in my head. Doesn't do any good locked up in your head. Let's all be happy together. Thanks.